Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Twitter, of course, and in this video I'm going to talk about Overwatch and TF2. Do they really have that much in common? So this is another video similar to the last one where I was talking about is TF2 dying, where I found a certain topic on the interwebs while browsing through some forums and such, and I was like, let's make a video about this because this is an interesting topic. Especially since I was browsing through the Overwatch forums here and there, and people were constantly comparing Overwatch with Team Fortress 2. So I was like, where is this idea coming from that these two are so similar? So I was writing some things down and also saw the trailer and the different characters. I was basically trying to inform myself on the topic of what does Overwatch have in common with Team Fortress 2. And I was like, okay, actually there are quite a few remarks here and there where it seems like these two do have a couple of things in common. That's why I was like, let's make a video about this.
In the Red Corner, released in October 2007, features 9 classes, a lot of game modes, co-op modes, mods, map making support, and much more. Created by Valve Software, here is T-Fortress 2! In the blue corner, we have a game currently in development, features a ton of characters, each with unique abilities. Created by Blizzard Entertainment, here is Overwatch!
I'm so sorry, I had to put that in there. Anyways, the first thing they have in common is the art style. So you have the Overwatch art style, which is cartoony, more pixel-like, and then you have the Team Fortress art style, which is also some kind of cartoony art style, but it's more like its own style. Team Fortress 2 has kind of developed its own art style, kind of. They call it both kind of a cartoony art style, even though it's of course you got differences in cartoony art styles, of course. Another thing they have in common is classes. They each come with classes. Overwatch has characters they use characters as class basically, instead of just like classes. Like classes can be anyone. Like you have an engineer called Bob and another one called Fred. That's entirely possible. But in Overwatch, they are characters. They have each with their own name, each with their own background that you can play as. I mean, it's a bit different, but it's still the same basis. Like you have characters with different abilities and such. And that's the second topic, the abilities. And now, you might not think that Team Fortress has abilities, but it does. Even though the difference is, in Overwatch, they are bound to a button. They are bound to the class itself, the character itself, I mean. And in Team Fortress 2, they are bound to a weapon. Like, when I try to disguise as a spy, I use the disguise kit. When I try the cloak, I use the cloak. Not the cloak, the watch. If I try to Uber someone as a medic, that's bound to my medic gun. That's the real difference. So they both have abilities, but I would say, to be honest, there's a key difference in the abilities that they have. Like, first off, Overwatch has more abilities, 3 abilities per character. You have like a basic ability, some sort of bound to movement or some sort of shield, defensive ability. Then you have like an offensive ability, I think. Then you have an ultimate ability, which is like really powerful, but takes a long time to charge. I think you have it only like 3 times in one game, if I heard correctly. So you don't have it up all that often. It's like a Uber charge. Like, especially in competitive TF2, you have like, when you have Uber, you charge in, and then it's like a giant team fight, kind of, based on your Uber charge. In Overwatch, it's going to be, like, every class has got its own unique abilities, and they work really well in synergy with each other. Like, you have a lot of different tactics, and that's why the game is going to be very different. Like, people were comparing this to mobile-like gameplay because of the abilities, and I do have to consider that is probably a good comparison, because you do have like those giant team fights and these combinations with each other abilities. Like for example, you have the Reinhardt ability, where he pops at shields, and you can, for example, push in with your team like behind the shields, and then when your shield runs out, the other people in your team pops their ultimate abilities. You have lots of different abilities and synergy with these abilities, and I think that's going to be the key difference to TF2. Because TF2, you pretty much, as I said, you have only turbocharge, maybe a buff banner or so from the soldier, but that's kind of it. Like, you don't really have these push abilities, like in Overwatch. It's not that easy to explain, but you know what I'm trying to say, that the abilities are going to feel very different from the ones in Team Fortress 2. And there are also some other similarities, like in the small details, like level 3 Sentry. There are also teleporters in the game. There's even a healing class, which also has a Medibeam, like in the Medic in Team Fortress 2. And to be honest, I get it. I get it if you compare the two, because Team Fortress 2 is the big dog out there, and it's definitely one of the most popular shooters. It's in the top 5 with the most played games on Steam. Right now it still has a large community, large player base, still has competitive players, still playing the game on a very serious basis. It's up there with the largest shooters with Call of Duty, Battlefield and CSGO. Well, actually, it's actually far below CSGO on amount of players, but still. So what's probably going to happen is there going to be some rivalry between the two games, which is good. Rivalry is always good, like the rivalry between AMD and Nvidia results in better graphics cards, you know. And it's going to result in go into 4 different directions. Either Valve keeps on continuing with the current rate of updates, like only one every 3 months or so, at a very slow rate. Or secondly, they can stop. They don't stop caring about Team Fortress 2. Like, all of the players went to play Overwatch and they don't have anyone left. So they just be like, fuck it, we give up. And then maybe 3, well, they can't count to 3, so 4. They can release updates more frequently. More interesting updates, some really new and cool features. Or 5. This is unlikely, but can still happen, that they would make a Team Fortress 3. So rivalry is always good in some way, for the person that's, in this case, the gamer. If there are people that are concerned that the games are going to be too similar, I'm sure that Overwatch was inspired with TF2. I mean, if you're going to, obviously they took some ideas like level 3 Sentry and some sort of engineer class and teleporters and Medibeams, and I'm sure they took some inspiration from Team Fortress 2, but I don't think that's a bad thing. And it's still Blizzard we are talking about, Blizzard Entertainment. I mean, I've played a lot of their games, pretty much every game since Warcraft 3. They take some ideas from other games and they just turned it into their own thing. They are a very smart company. I don't think you need to concern yourself with the fact that the games are going to be similar. I think it will offer you an entirely new experience instead of the usual Team Fortress experience, so you don't need to worry whatsoever. So are the two similar? Yeah, sure. But Overwatch will give you an entirely new experience, is what I think. Thanks for watching, and take care, folks.